seems that the evidence against you has failed to appear. You must be a very dangerous man, Wei Shen. That is exactly what we want people to think.
In fact, all the people Sunny told me to be with, Wei is the only one who said no, the only one. You get so involved in the storyline now that you wake up and then suddenly it's like you lost 2 days.
You know, if you do, I'll definitely go with you. You're like my brother, Wei.
In Chinese, you'd say one is the Silo and one is the Dailo. So one is the little brother and one's the big brother.
Try that shit on Sun On Yee territory again, and I'll break both your f***ing legs.
What's amazing about the game, or the game story within it, is that it plays like a feature.
Uniform officers on the scene say at least one of them is from your crew.
What? You positive?
Characters are not cut and dry. They're not good or bad. I mean, everybody in life pretty much walks a fence.
This probably sounds silly, but it was my mother's favorite flower, and now that she's gone, I'm surprised how detailed it is. You know, there's so many parts and pieces to making this incredible experience.
So, was this like a date?
Sounds good to me.
Everyone thinks it's so cool that I get to do a video game. They're like, really? You get to do a video game? It's like super sexy time. You know, you're really sweet, but now's not the right time.
Shen, clearly you've forgotten who you're speaking to.
It's gonna be interesting.
Fighting is my job. That's what I do for a living. That's what I've been doing since I'm 7 years old every day. I'm fighting because I like the science of it. For me, it's a passion, it's a sport. I'm a martial artist. That's what I love to do.
GSP is George St. Pierre, the current welterweight champion of the UFC.
He's a phenomenal mixed martial artist.
He's such an expert in his field.
And the chance to work with a guy like George is a tremendous opportunity.
I'm here to make the video game, actually to help the guys help the team, to give them some insight of what I think, to make it more authentic, make it more real.
Throughout the development of this game, we've been heavily influenced by MMA, karate, kung fu, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and that, in a lot of ways, mirrors George's fighting style. We took George through the story of the game, the characters, the world itself, and then got into the fighting.
The fighting scene are so realistic, it's like the real thing, you know? I like the way the transition between the striking and the takedown is done. It's very fluid.
Anything that glows red when you've got a character grappled is a piece of the environment that you can use.
So you can use chair, you can take your opponent and throw him in a, in a fish tank or in a grinder.
Oh my God!
He wanted to get his hands on the game. You know, he almost kind of wanted to take the controls from Mike and play himself. It was like the dark side of George wanted to bust loose.
Like me, when I play video game, I like to be a villain. In life, I'm a good person, but when I play, I'm like the most evil person I can be.
And then we brought in Liberty Walker and Sota Yuyama, two guys who've been key to the development of our fighting and our locomotion. And the great thing about these guys meeting George is that Sota and Liberty are both fighters themselves.
Whenever we are trying to implement some new moves, we get up, start throwing the punches, then see how it feels.
So we would often work through what worked mechanically from our martial arts background, trying to keep with more believable moves.
Sota and Liberty are very committed in what they do. They're very meticulous in their work.
So Sota, you want to bring up on your end like the jump kick?
When you sprint in towards the enemy and you push the striking button and there's a jump kick that comes out.
It's a little bit problematic for us just visually.
We weren't quite happy with it, but we couldn't quite articulate what was wrong with it.
So you can see it in slow-mo.
Okay, I see the progress. Go ahead. Go continuously, yes, I can see.
So at that point, you know, we broke into the mechanics of what was wrong with that move and how it wasn't looking correct. Doesn't feel like his hip.
You know why? Because he's jumping with the same leg that he's gonna kick, which is wrong. Oh, you see? Jump with the left and you kick with the left.
Yes.
If I would do that move, okay, I would jump with my right and kick with the left.
George was in his element when he was talking to those guys. That's really when he got fully engaged.
What I like to do is when the guy kick here, up, getting into him, boom, with and I see one he's swing like this, crack, and then break the leg. He's done, you know?
Tweak this, tune this, make this a little bit different, and we'll be even closer to having truly authentic fighting experience.
We talked a little bit about the flying punch.
It's one of my favorite moves in the fighting, but I've learned new version of it and new ways to apply it. You know, the one I use with my front end that everybody knows, and I like to combine it with the leg kick. I'm not watching the leg. So I'm here, you go with the front, and then you finish with the kick this side. And the other one is the same thing, so I fake it, up, and I finish with the kick as well.
Nice.
It's like a combination, you know, you end up, papa, with the kick. Here, and that's it.
Nice. Wow. So even if you're not actually making contact, right? When you're actually working him back, he's on the defensive. You can pin him down.
Exactly. And then
he's moving, but now you're in. His attention's up here.
Yeah.
And you're in kicking range. So that's almost guaranteed, right?
Exactly.
That's
because he doesn't see what is coming. You block it. You block his vision high. So he try to protect high. Then you cut the leg. You know. That's when it works the most efficiently. Yeah, definitely.
He helped us refine the flying punch in the animation, and then we implemented in our game.
Oh my God, you guys did a great job, like seriously.
Maybe he can pick up the control and try out the GS right now.
Yeah.
If you want to fight multiple guys, I can give you 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah, send me another one.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you know what? Can you guys give me a little bit more?
I think he's dead. Okay. Can I have another guy? I just killed this one.
Okay, well, do you want maybe 2 more guys? And gave him 2 more guys. And he goes, no, like, I want more.
How many can you put on this? I do like their matrix, like.
So we created a whole bunch of guys, and he's like fighting a massive army of guys just at him, and he's just working his way through them.
George absolutely helped us take the game to, I think, just another level. Having a guy who really embodies what MMA is today come in and actually help us tweak up our fighting, which is really the cornerstone of the gameplay experience.
Doing more and more stuff like that is crucial for game development, and actually getting to meet the experts in the field and the people who really live that lifestyle and understand that lifestyle.
And the fact that we actually have stuff in the game that's representative of him.
Oh, my fighting shorts.
You got it, man.
The main thing about it, the reason why we play game is to entertain ourselves, to have fun. And this game, I have to tell you, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's a murderous rampage.
Hey, everyone.
In many ways, I think he's just as dangerous on the road as he is in the ring.
I think the biggest reason for choosing Hong Kong had to do with Hong Kong cinema. At the time we were watching a lot of like Hong Kong cinema action flicks, and just loved like the action, loved the setting. So for us, it just made perfect sense to bring the action, bring an open world game to somewhere that gamers had never been before.
Got this meshing of cultures. You've got the Eastern culture and the Western culture. The Western culture being the British involvement in Hong Kong, and how those two cultures have sort of been fused together
over the past century and a half.
It has really shaped that city. You have the crazy extremes and the crazy characters just there for your enjoyment. Watching movies, we all love watching action movies, but that wasn't enough. And reading books, and there are lots of them about the cops' relationship with the triads, that wasn't enough. We wanted to go there and experience it and understand not just what it meant to be there, but the elements that they could bring back.
For the first time, we experienced the city through the viewfinder of our cameras, so we were just taking photos nonstop. There are parts of the city where it felt like you were just walking in a canyon of signage, you know what I mean? And then from there, the following day, you go to a different part of the city where it feels vast and open and modern.
And you're seeing a building that's over 100 stories tall, and next to it, there's a tiny little temple. You see guys hanging out on a street corner who looked like they were in a street fight, and they were triad guys who actually were in a street fight.
The key for us about the triads and about Hong Kong was just how interwoven like the triads are into society. It's not like there's a bad guy that you can point to the whole time. They're part of the fabric.
We were really lucky to be able to talk to people on both sides, the police and the triads. We talked to a member of very high up, and I guess you'd call it the Hong Kong Secret Service. He was fascinating to talk to, just in terms of understanding what the threats were in Hong Kong. We talked to a couple of members of the triads as well, who took our writer into some very interesting places. He never felt at risk, but he learned some interesting things. We heard a story when we were there with one of our contacts driving around the city. He told us about a particular entertainment figure who, during his program, had said some rather nasty things about one of the local triad leaders, and that this guy was chopped. Chopped being the term of being attacked by a triad but left alive. No sooner had he told us the story than we drove around a corner, and he said, well, there he is. And sure enough, there was this guy walking down the street who we passed, who was years after the attack, but very visibly limping and very visibly maimed.
Hong Kong has such a kind of chaotic and multi-layered architectural approach to it, which allowed us to do many new things with the way the player traverses the environment. We've basically taken the essence of the city, the essence of the lifestyle, and designed all of our gameplay mechanics around that so that we can basically embrace the culture, but also create an experience where players will actually feel like a, gangster.
Hong Kong is an island, and what we did was create an island with 4 separate neighborhoods. North Point, which is where you start the game, which is more reminiscent of Kowloon. Central Hong Kong, very famous skyline. Kennedy Town, built on the side of one of the hills in Hong Kong, more of an affluent neighborhood, and then Aberdeen Harbor around the back of the island.
The traffic is on the left-hand side of the street. We decided, for the sake of authenticity, that we were going to go with that.
We wanted to capture a bit of everything, because really what's unique about Hong Kong is its diversity, and we wanted to capture that diversity. And small things like the tiny alleyways, the cluttered alleyways that feel dingy, foreign, and threatening in some ways. Layers of signage and pipes and wires and hanging laundry. It's a bit overwhelming in the beginning, but then you start slowly getting adjusted to what you're seeing.
If you want to spend time just roaming around the island, enjoying the races and the mini games and the events and favors and shopping and all that kind of stuff, then that's entirely there for you to do.
The final result is a city that feels authentic, but at the same time, it's fun to explore and to experience.
They reckon you should let sleeping dogs lie, but pay no attention to such cliches, because in the case of Square Enix and United Front Games' open world thriller Sleeping Dogs, there's very little time to take a quick nap. Years in the making and featuring non-stop action inspired by the cream of Asian cinema, Sleeping Dogs puts you in the role of Wei Shen, an undercover cop who has the unenviable task of taking down the Hong Kong triads from the inside. I'm here at Square Enix's London HQ, where some lucky members of their community have been invited to get some hands-on time with the game before anyone else. Not only that, but they'll have the fortune of being pestered by me for their opinions. Before interrupting their valuable game time, however, I caught up with Al Cornish from Square to see how the game's shaping up.
Hong Kong's really fresh, it's exciting, it's vibrant, the street life is completely packed. When you go through, for example, the night market, one of the areas in the game, is one of the busiest and most vibrant. There's hawkers shouting at you, trying to sell you everything, knockoff goods, clothes, DVDs, whatever. There's people selling food. There's gas rising from vents, there's colourful girls trying to sell you drinks and other things. It's just really, really vibrant at any time of day or night. The team's experience with driving games is pretty much second to none. They're fantastic. So the handling for, we've got I think 65 vehicles in the game, all with different handling models. So there's bikes, cars, trucks, boats, and they all handle very differently. So you can get high-end sports bikes, and as Wei gets later in the game and kind of increases his space, improves his standing, you can end up driving some pretty swanky sports cars, and then you can kind of think back to the earlier models you were driving, you know, at the sort of start of the game, and there's a real difference in how they handle, how they feel, how good they are for illegal street races, how good they are for taking people out, ramming off the road. And if you've got a gun, you can shoot while in a car. If you're driving a car, you can ram other cars and try and merge the shooting, the melee, and the driving. So in the middle of a street race, you can just sideswipe another car, you know, send them flying off the road. It can get quite violent in the middle of a street race. There's a lot of the improvisation that you see in some of the old kind of, you know, Jackie Chan classics where we'll use anything in the environment, and Tony Jaa does it as well, you mentioned him previously. Not just in terms of how you can kind of get away from opponents or outmaneuver them, but also just how you can hurt people. So Way's very capable in and of himself. He can break limbs, you know, kick people on the ground, tackle them, kind of do almost MMA style spear tackles and break their jaws, but he can also use the environment. You can throw people's heads into fans, use table saws, burn people's faces on stoves, use almost anything. And as well as objects that you've kind of specifically tagged up with special kind of kill animations around them, you can also sprint and just throw enemies at any time under ragdoll, and you can smash them into the corners of walls, throw them into oncoming traffic, pitch them over the edges of railings to fall to their deaths. There's so many different ways of expressing yourself in combat. So one of the things we've tried to do is keep everything flowing together, so you never have to kind of go into a shooting mode or a melee mode, you know, by sort of swapping out special equipment or you know, pressing a sort of mode toggle button or anything like that. So a really good example is how you go how you can go from melee to shooting is if you've got a guy staying behind cover blasting you, you can just charge at him empty-handed, vault the cover, kick him in the face and disarm him in one smooth move. Now you've got his gun. With that gun, obviously, you can take cover, you can blind fire from cover, aim fire from cover, you can vault over cover and go into a kind of slow-mo mode and get some really nice slick action headshots. But you can also, if someone comes up behind you, you can turn around, pistol whip them, kick them. There are combos even while you've got weapons in your hands. So there's no break in the flow. It all flows together. Again, if you've run out of ammunition for that gun, toss it and vault over the next piece of cover. You know, smash the guy in the face with the empty rifle. You know, pick something else up. So community days like this are great to experience. You know, real people playing the game, see how they got on with it, what they love. You know, see what really tickles them. Is it the story? Is it the combat? Is it the you know, which aspect of it? The free running. We've had kind of focus tests hands-on throughout development, just to try and hone the mechanics, get them as tight as they can be, as fun as they can be. So this kind of caps it all off. You know, to see at this stage, you know, putting the kind of consumer demo in people's hands and seeing how they respond. So yeah, it's a great kind of end to the project, almost end.
I think the thing that might make it stick out the most to me is the story. Like, I think it's very rare that there's been a lot of attempts to kind of do the true crime story, but I think they might have kind of the winning formula.
I really like the combat system. It's not like a traditional shooter as you'd expect from an open world game. They kind of tend to be together, but it's a free flow system similar to the Batman series. So yeah, and lots of contextual moves against environments.
It offers a lot of different kinds of combat and driving and things, and it's got a really great world that it builds up. It's really colourful, which is cool, and it's just, yeah, it's got a real edge to it, which is really impressive, and that's what you want from the game.
I think most of the combat seems to have stuck out the most. It's quite free-flowing like Arkham City, but it's got these quite visceral finishing moves, which kind of provide a nice closure to the fighting.
I'd like to have been a chance to have played with the driving and maybe the shooting mechanic, get a better idea of overall, but so far, looking good.
I try to go to as many of these sort of events as possible, which is why I'm always paying attention to all the publishers' Facebook feeds. Yeah, no, it's a great opportunity to get the game, get your hands on the game a bit early and sort of talk to the developers and kind of get a feeling that you're seeing some of the magic happen at the time. Things are still a bit of a state of flux, and yeah, it's just really nice to go to an event where you can talk to someone and have a really interesting conversation about the game you just played.
Well, I actually found out about it through Twitter. Square Enix saying, we've got an event, would you like to come? Fill out this form and we'll see if we let you in. I was lucky enough to get the message saying yes.
There's plenty more coming for the community. You can't go into too many specifics now, but the best way to keep in touch and see what's coming down the pipe is to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or go to sleepingdogs.net for more information. And then you won't miss out on anything that's coming.